today is Christopher Slee. He is the founder and principal at AWH. AWH, you may remember, Christopher came to us from a recommendation from our friend and former Rotarian Ryan Frederick, who also is at AWH. Chris is a founder and principal. As I said, AWH is a technical consulting firm that helps companies fuel growth by leveraging technology. In addition, Chris serves as a chief technology officer for some of AWH clients, helping them align their business strategy with technological strategy. I'm just going to bring Chris straight up here and let him talk about what you're all here to hear.
Let him get that started. So, today's talk, you are the very first group to see it. All right. So we have a series of talks that we give on a series of subjects. I'll get into that here as soon as the slides are up. But this talk is brand new. So if you hate it, let me know before I go do it again somewhere else. All right. All right. So, wait, you good? All right. So we do a technology briefing series for executives. We go around and a lot of them are at Vistage, where we'll do 3-hour sort of in-depth, lots of rotation through different technologies. This is a talk added to that series. Oh, okay, good. So some of the topics that we include, and we update this every quarter, so every quarter we do a refresh on all the topics, so that way, as we're doing these talks, they're up to date, so you're not going to hear old things. A lot on artificial intelligence. This is a part of the cryptocurrency series. And then we do some on process automation and remote work, and we do a blockchain deep dive. So there's a lot of topics out here. And I think Ryan did one on blockchain. So I am the principal and chief product officer at AWH. I've been doing that for 30 years or so, since '95. I'm also the Chief Technology Officer at Include Health currently. Include Health is bringing a machine learning-based vision system out to people's homes to help with physical therapy. So that's what that is all about. It's an interesting story, great backstory to it, helping lots of people. I was also an adjunct professor at the Ohio State University. This talk, like I said, is new. So I had some conversations when I first got here that, hey, I'm not sure I understand cryptocurrency. I don't know if it's important. I don't know what it's about, sort of what the details are. So this is not going to be sort of an in-depth engineering look inside blockchain and sort of how algorithms work. This is really talking about what's the difference between cryptocurrencies and fiat money. So we can sort of understand what the difference is. So fiat money, first question, is currency that's not backed by a physical commodity, like gold or silver. So it's issued by the government that issues it. So the U.S. dollar is a fiat currency. Because 1971, we got rid of the gold standard. So all the money in your pocket is backed by the trust in the U.S. government. Yet if you have, francs or yen, or any of the other currencies that you think of as money, those are really just representations of the trust that you have in that particular government and the value that it holds. All right? So what's a cryptocurrency? So it's a digital or virtual currency secured by cryptography. So the computer systems give us that particular set of money. It's impossible, nearly impossible to counterfeit or double spend. So one of the things that, if you pull out $1 and you look at it, there's so many anti-forgery mechanisms built into it because so many people try to forge it. You can't really forge cryptocurrencies, high-level cryptocurrencies. So you have things like Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana, but really that's about as deep as I'm going to get into the names of some of these things. But understand that there's fiat money, the dollars you have in your pocket, and there's cryptocurrency. And we're going to talk about the difference between those two. The first one is origin. Where does fiat money come from? And fiat money's authority comes from a government, and it relies on the belief of the users that there's stable value. So if you ever hear of a country going out of existence, they probably had a currency, and that currency is now worthless. I have a 100,000 mark bill at home, and the marks were, German money, World War II. It's useless. It's worthless. It's a collectible now. But it was a very valuable note when Germany was running. And the stability is related to the stability of the country of origin. Right? So we talked about U.S. getting switched from the gold standard. So what gives someone the right or the authority to make a cryptocurrency? Well, white papers. Someone will write up a document that says, I'm going to make a cryptocurrency. Here's the parameters of this currency, right? And then that currency can come into existence. And then really the stability is provided by that white paper and what it said. What do we believe the mathematics of that currency are? And also adoption by its users. So those are the two things. So I can make a clone of Bitcoin, but if no one uses it, no one cares. The reason why we care about Bitcoin is because a lot of people use it. But Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Dogecoin, all came from someone writing a white paper that says, this is how many of these coins that we'll issue, this is how we're going to issue them, this is how we're going to secure them, and this is sort of the work method by which we're going to include it in our cryptography, right? So the cryptocurrencies have a unique property based on their white papers of being non-inflationary. So Bitcoin's value isn't inflationary value, meaning people just can't print more whenever they want to. Unlike fiat money, where you can have runs on fiat money, where a Federal Reserve or a central bank can print more and more and more money, which devalues the money that's in your pocket. Cryptocurrency can't do that. So how do we create dollars? Well, in the United States, we're just going to go with US dollars. The Federal Reserve prints them, and they're serialized. Every dollar you have, if you open it, has a serial number on it. So we know that dollar is a US dollar. It's been serialized. It's been recorded. Digital balances, because not all money is represented now by paper currency. Right? If we all went and got paper currency out of all of our banks, there wouldn't be enough paper currency because we don't print as much money as we actually have. Right? So digital balances are held by commercial banks on behalf of the Federal Reserve. So you've got an account at Chase or you've got an account at Huntington. That money is backed by the Federal Reserve, knowing that money exists in that particular account. No one can make money except for the Federal Reserve. Well, how about cryptocurrency? So a process called mining creates coins. And I'm going to talk a little bit about mining here in a second. But the created coins are recorded on a blockchain, which is a distributed ledger, and they're assigned to anonymous wallets. An example of that is MetaMask. So this sentence has a bunch of things we're going to talk about for a minute. All right. So the first one is, we'll talk about mining. Well, actually, we're going to talk about the created coins that are recorded on a blockchain. So a blockchain is a simple concept if you just let it go, right? People get really wrapped into what blockchains are and how complex it is. But really, it's a simple thing. Imagine if we all had a spreadsheet open. So everyone gets on their laptop, opens up a spreadsheet. It's a blank spreadsheet. Everyone's there. I write a transaction on the board. Column A, column B, column C. Everyone writes that down. Okay? I write another transaction, column A, column B, column C. Everyone writes that down. When we say save, there will be some percentage of humans that have typed that information incorrectly. But a large percentage of humans will have typed it correctly, right? So a mining process happens where we take column A, B, and C in both rows that we just entered, and we run them in through a piece of computer code. It's a hash, and we come out with a value. It's a string. It's a value that says these columns, this data in this spreadsheet is equal to this string. Now, I can't look at the string and know what the values are, But I know if any of these values change, that string will be different. So if we go around the room and I said, okay, I need you to mine for these values in that spreadsheet, most people, except for the ones that typed it wrong, are going to have the exact same hash. And we can agree then that everyone's hash that's the same is probably the people that got the transactions recorded correctly. And we're going to go with that majority as the recorded transactions that everyone should have. So all the people that are wrong, update your spreadsheet. Okay? So a blockchain just says, we do that, that's mining, and then we tie that number, so not only are there 2 transactions in the spreadsheet, but we also tie it to that hash of the previous block. So now I know which block what came before me, I know the transactions in this block, and then I have a hash that says these are the transactions that I can prove were in this block. And then the next block does the exact same thing. And it's a chain of blocks done through that hashing system. And that's really all a blockchain is. It's a non-changeable database that's distributed, but anyone who wants to participate in it, and we all agree that the transactions that we put in that spreadsheet are the same transactions everybody else has. I mean, that is the blockchain. So when coins are created, they're recorded on that blockchain. So somewhere there's a transaction that said, hey, a coin just was created, here's its ID, here's how much it's worth, and then here's who it belongs to. And the who it belongs to is through these wallets. So if I took all my identification out of my wallet, put money in it, because I don't carry fiat money anymore, and threw it on the table and left, you wouldn't be able to identify who the wallet is, but you would know the contents of the wallet, right? And if there were some receipts, you might be able to tell what are the other things the wallet had participated in, but you wouldn't know who it belongs to. So wallets are anonymous. Now, wallets created, like if you go to MetaMask or you go to Coinbase and try to create a wallet, the federal government has said, if you're doing that in the United States, they want to know who you are. So when you go to MetaMask and say, hey, I want to create a wallet, it'll go, tell me your social security number. All right? If you're not in the United States, they're anonymous. So there's a little bit of a boundary difference here. So, so coins are created, they're recorded, and then they're assigned to wallets. Mining, which is that process to come up with a hash, right? That's what people get paid for. When you hear about, they're Bitcoin mining, and they're using up so much electricity, right? Because what they have is lots of computers trying to solve that mathematical problem. And in Bitcoin, they try to solve it before anybody else. Because only the first person to solve the math equation gets the money. And that's why they buy more and more and more computers to mine Bitcoin. Right? That is a process called proof of work. Proof of work says that I solved the problem first. I put my answer in, and then everyone else is upset because they didn't solve the problem first, and they prove that I'm either right or wrong. I get the money, they get nothing. Which is why when we talk about Bitcoin, and everyone talks about the electric consumption, like, oh, Bitcoin's really terrible for the environment. Yes, because we have millions of people competing to solve a math problem, buying bigger and bigger computers to be the first one to solve it because only one person gets the dollar, the Bitcoin. There are other types of work, which is proof of stake, which says, hey, I'm going to try to solve that block. I'm willing to put my money up front. And then if I solve it, and then everyone goes, okay, your money is good, so we're going to let you solve it, and then they go on to the next one, right? And as soon as the stake runs out, then we just wait for the next set of miners to come up. But the person who says, hey, I'm going to put my money up front, I'm going to solve that problem, I get my money back, and I get the value of the mining operation. But meanwhile, we're not all competing, right? Sort of a lottery. Who gets to do that? But you have to put your money in before you get your money and the additional out, right? Ethereum runs on that. Well, Ethereum is switching to that model. So Bitcoin, proof of work, we all compete to solve this problem. We create it in a blockchain. Once the blockchain is solid, everyone agrees to it, one person gets paid. All right? So that's how we create cryptocurrency currently. So how do we use fiat money? Well, paper versions are serialized, but traded anonymously. So if I had 100 $1 bills, and I gave them to all of you, and you all gave that dollar to somebody else, and they gave that dollar to somebody else, the only time a paper currency is recorded is when it leaves a bank and comes into a bank. What it does in its circuitous sort of travels in the world, we have no idea. It's anonymous transaction. I can give you a 20. No one knows that I gave you a 20 but you. Digital versions are not serialized, but are tracked by ownership at the financial institutions and are not anonymous. Which is why when you go to deposit money into a bank, if it's over $10,000, the FDIC or it's actually the Federal Reserve, but the FBI gets notified that large transactions are occurring. They look for anomalies. They look for money laundering, those kind of things. So digital versions, we don't have serialized, which means I can't trade every dollar I have in my current bank account for $1 at a bank, because if we all did that, we didn't print enough dollars. Right? And then the other thing about fiat money is, in order to ensure its stability, it's the only way to pay for government services. You can only pay your taxes with US dollars. So the US doesn't take cryptocurrency, it doesn't take francs. You can't use the euro to pay for your US taxes. Yes?
Ohio takes Bitcoin for your taxes, though.
And that's why we're a federal organization. Right?
Repeat the question, please.
What he said is Ohio will take Bitcoin for your taxes. So states can do whatever they want, right? The federal government says, no, we own the dollar, that's it. Now, if the state came out with its own coin and we suddenly had a Buckeye, right? And we were able to buy and sell Buckeyes and trade Buckeyes and buy with Buckeyes, that would be a different thing, right? Cryptocurrencies. So how do we use these things, right? Coins are used in transactions that transfer ownership from one wallet to another. It's exactly like moving, if I gave you a 20, I took it out of my wallet, give you 20, put it in your wallet, right? Cryptocurrency works the same way, except all those transactions are recorded, right? That's how we get no overspending. And they're recorded as a public transaction. So one anonymous wallet gives another anonymous wallet one Bitcoin, $40,000 right now, 38. So what we don't know is who owns either of those wallets. But what we can do, since it's all happening in public, we can go look at the entire history of the blockchain and go, how much money is in that wallet? And we can go add up all the transactions for a particular wallet and figure out how much money is in it. It's public knowledge. There's websites out there that let you look at wallets and see every transaction that happened. Right? So those are public. There's a term called whales. Whales are where people have scanned through all of the blockchains and found the wallets that have the most of that kind of coin. And then people watch that wallet to see where it's doing transactions to see whether they should buy certain coins or get out of certain coins. Because if someone has that much money and they suddenly get out of that particular coin, well, maybe I want to too. So, in order to add things into the blockchain, fees are recorded. So when I came up here and I added the second row into this spreadsheet that we're all looking at, I had to pay to do that. It's called a gas fee on Ethereum. And what that means is that's how we pay for the mining of the coins. So as I put money into those transactions, if I do 5 transactions, I pay gas fees on those transactions. When all the transactions in a blockchain, so it's not just 2, it can be hundreds, right, before we close off a block and do that hashing, right? But all of those provide money back into the system of the same type of coin that's used on the blockchain. So just like you can only pay for your taxes and government services using fiat money of that organization, you can only pay for transaction fees on that particular blockchain. So Bitcoin, I pay in Bitcoin. Ethereum, I pay in Ether. So it also adds a self-stabilizing effect, meaning it's eating its own dog food. Right? All right. How do I exchange fiat money? If I get on an airplane and fly to France, how do I get francs or euros at this point, right? There's forexes, foreign exchange, right, where dollars can be converted into anything else. It's pretty straightforward. We thought about this, right? Exchanges for cryptocurrency work the same way. So there's DeFi or decentralized finance exchanges that allow the conversion of one currency to another. So and keep in mind that this is, fun internet, right? So there's things like Uniswap and all kinds of other exchanges out there, but their only goal is to take Ethereum and turn it into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin and turn it into Solana, that kind of exchange, right? And then some exchanges allow the conversion of fiat into cryptocurrency, like Coinbase. So if you were saying to yourself, how do I get in on this? You can go to Coinbase, which is a website, has an app, and you can hook your bank account up to it. You can move $100 from your bank account into coin, and then you can go buy $100 worth of Bitcoin. That's how you do it. There's no magic. It's just another currency exchange. And then if you want to get your money back, it works the same way, and then you have to pay taxes on that. Or if you buy a particular cryptocurrency and the price goes way up and you sell it, there's a gain on that. And the federal government will want its fiat currency for the gain on your cryptocurrency, right? So, alternate uses for fiat money, I talked about one already, which is collectibles. My dad gave me a coin collection when I was a kid. I still have said coin collection. I have wheat pennies. I have pennies from the late 1800s. I've got dimes from the 20s. Yeah, it's really cool to sit and look at them, but those are collectibles. The face value of that dime is worth more than 10 cents. Right? But that's just fiat money that turned into a collectible. The other thing we have is things like gift cards and store credit. So think about this. You go to Kroger, and you're like, oh, hey, fuel points. So I'm going to go to Kroger, and I'm going to buy a $100 gift card to, I don't know, let's go with Amazon, which would be, I'm not sure why you would do that, but what I've done is I've taken fiat currency and converted it into something else. My currency, my transaction, continues to flow through the financial system. I no longer have the $100. I have something that's a prize at $100 worth of value, which is a gift card to Amazon. When I use that at Amazon, Amazon will go, oh, okay, that's worth $100, but the Amazon already got paid. That's how gift cards work. Right? Store credit, similar kind of thing. It's essentially an eddy in the river of money, right? That, oh, hey, you gave me your money, you gave me the good or service back, I'm just going to give you credit to get more goods or services. Your fiat money is gone at that point, right? You can't go, no, I want my money back. And they go, no, we'll give you store credit. Okay. That's not money. Alternate uses for cryptocurrency, same thing. And this is a problem actually, which is in one of the problem signs. So collectibles, people collect them. And then there's something called tokens and altcoins. So when we talked about the big, like when I say Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana, and I'm talking about real coins, coins are the blockchain that this thing runs on. So Bitcoin's got a blockchain, Ethereum's got a blockchain, Solana has a blockchain. Okay. There are coins out there that don't have blockchains that are merely riding on top of somebody else's blockchain. So those are called altcoins. And altcoins are useful if, for instance, I want to create my own little version of Monopoly money. I can create an altcoin, and as long as everybody, we can have Rotary money, right? We can have a Rotary coin, and everyone in the Rotary is allowed to use it, and you can buy services inside the Rotary, right? But you have to convert it into Rotary coins, but they're running on Ethereum or some other blockchain, right? And we all just agree that it has value, and sometimes that value is tethered to the value of the originating coin. So I can buy a Rotary coin, I can make a Rotary coin, I can then sell a Rotary coin for the value of whatever the Ethereum might be at the time. But then the internal use of that coin can go up and down in value as a collectible, independent of the base value of the currency that it was created on, right? Because humans are like that. They're funny that way. They assign value to things that don't have value. So problems. What's the problem with fiat money? Well, the big one is it derives from the trust of the government, the agency, and stability within inside that government creates financial instability. Right? That's a big one. Countries cease to exist. That'd be a big problem, right? And then inflation. Governments can print more money. Changes the value of the dollar in your pocket. So if the government decides to not only replace the dollars that are coming out of circulation due to damage, but also increase the dollar supply, the value of any given dollar in your pocket decreases. That's inflation. Cryptocurrencies have problems. Some currencies become collectible and are no longer exchanged for goods and services. There's a famous transaction on the Bitcoin blockchain very early on where a guy put out a request and said, I will pay 10,000 Bitcoin for someone to deliver pizza to my dorm. Right? That's when Bitcoin was worth 12 cents. Seemed like a normal kind of transaction. Like, what's the harm in that? Bitcoin's worth almost $40,000 right now, and he traded 10,000 $40,000 coins for a pizza. And then people were like, maybe I shouldn't use my Bitcoin to buy things. Maybe I should just hold on to it. And that's where you get currencies being used as collectibles, not as currency. And Jamie Dimon just talked about this last week, where he was talking through, like, I don't even want to call them cryptocurrencies because they're not currencies, because they're not really traded for goods or services a lot of times. They're being held on to for value, right? And they make a terrible value, durable value. Like, it's not a good one. They're volatile as markets because people turn them into collectibles, right? So I can get on my phone, I can look, and I do this all the time because I'm habitual. I will open up Coinbase and I will just watch the value of I almost said stocks. I watch the value of coins go up and down just like the stock market. Right? Because it's not a currency. I don't do that to Forex. I don't go out and see the US dollar versus the yen constantly, right? And then you'll hear scams are another big one. In the Wild West of anything, people get taken advantage of. So when we talk about scams, we're typically talking about tokens or coins that were created where people aren't really paying attention to the algorithms in the white paper. They get, just like a stock, they get sort of juiced up. Everyone gets super excited about it. Everyone buys a whole bunch of them. The people that created it sell all of theirs, right? And they walk away with fiat money, and you have nothing. That happens. But it happens in the stock market. You go play penny stocks back in the 80s. That happened all the time. So, in conclusion, as we wrap this up, so the topics we talked about: origination, creation, use, exchanges, and alternate uses. Fiat money originates in the government. Cryptocurrency by white papers. MAC. The creation is the central authority to print or create. Cryptocurrency is mining and use. Use, both anonymous paper and non-anonymous digital accounts. And then cryptocurrency is anonymous wallets. Exchanges, Forex, and cryptocurrency also has its same thing, both commercial and decentralized exchanges. Yeah.
So someone owns these white papers, someone that originated them, correct?
Yes. And they're public. You can go read them whenever you want to. And you can use them as a basis to make your own cryptocurrency. The reason why we said that mining and use are important is because I can make a coin, which is the top level cryptocurrency, not a token, but a coin. I have to have my own blockchain to do that, but a blockchain, remember, is a distributed spreadsheet that we all use. And if it's just me by myself in my dorm room, it's not a very effective cryptocurrency. But if I can get everybody to use it, it becomes an effective cryptocurrency. And that's why Bitcoin has such a head lead right now. It was one of the first ones everyone really started talking about. Alternate uses, collectibles, alternate cards, collectibles and tokens, same kind of thing. And then the problem is government stability and inflation. And then the problem with cryptocurrency is volatility and scams. And that's really what cryptocurrency is about. Right? It's just like fiat money, except who created it. Yeah.
Is a white paper actually imaginary?
No, it's a research
What's it
document.
based on? I mean, but what's the value of the coin based on?
Well, the value of the coin is based on our perception of the value of the coin.
That's right.
Just like a stock,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's like a stock, yeah. So it's not really there. There's no real coin, there's no real substance.
No, whenever you see a picture online of a Bitcoin and it has a little B with
Right.
a and it's a gold coin, that doesn't exist.
I know,
People
but
don't make it.
I know it doesn't exist, but does anything behind it exist, or is it just everybody's buying into it?
Oh, careful, you're about to go down a rabbit hole here. And that rabbit hole
I'm sure.
is the fiat money is the same thing.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Sure it is.
Yeah. The only reason the dollar's worth $1 is because we all believe
Because we all
this.
think it is.
Yeah.
Is there a finite amount of Bitcoin? And you were talking about mining and creating it, but is there a finite amount that initially is
Yes,
created?
and well, there's a finite amount that's stated in the white paper that will create the coin. And I can't remember off the top of my head, it's like 2 billion or 200 million.
It's gonna take, what, 25 or
Yeah.
100 years to mine the rest?
Yeah, so what they say is there is a finite number of Bitcoins, and the only way to get to that number is by using Bitcoins, right? And then a Bitcoin can be broken into smaller segments. You don't have to buy an entire Bitcoin. It's sort of like stock, right? Google's about to do their 20-to-1 split. Same thing is, okay, well, a Bitcoin may be worth $40,000, but I can buy some fractional percentage of a Bitcoin for $100 and own that, right? So,
Divisible by million.
what?
Bitcoin's divisible by million, one Satoshi is.
Yeah,
one
Satoshi,
Bitcoin.
yeah. So there is a finite, and that's how cryptocurrencies can say that they can avoid inflation. It's because we know how many there can be. Now, there's not that many in circulation because that many haven't been created yet, but we know the final number of them.
So is that, I mean, there's a finite number of blocks in the white paper?
Yeah.
Is that how they?
21 billion when
So
it's done.
it was set at the beginning?
Coins, yeah. So there could be as many blocks as you want, because keep in mind, after that last coin gets minted, we can still use it as a currency. There's just not going to be any more, which means probably the value might go up as a collector.
The electric usage, you said something, mining uses electricity, but what about the ledger itself? Doesn't that also, is that a electricity driven?
It's just a shared database that you've got. If you participate in mining, you will install a version on your machine. I'll have a version on my machine, and we will be having conversations as to whether we agree on hashes and then the transactions coming into the system. We all see.
But each transaction requires some electricity, doesn't it, forever? I mean, we're going to have transactions forever, so there's going to be electricity used for that, isn't there?
Well, you're going to have electricity usage just as like you have electricity usage by you browsing a website, right? The heavy electricity usage is the fact that we are essentially competing a bunch of computers against each other to see who's the fastest at solving that problem. That's a waste of energy.
Describe what that computer looks like, because it's not a laptop.
No.
So, I don't think people understand necessarily, the computer could be a field of warehouses.
Yes. Yeah. So because those are multiple computers, right? So when we talk about mining rigs,
Like the server.
yeah, we talk about essentially if you could take if you know what a graphics card looks like, right? The thing that's inside your computer, right? That is really all you need to mine Bitcoin. We'll just use Bitcoin because it's easy to pick on. So if I need to beat you in a mathematical race, the more of those things I can have, the faster I can compute the value, the more likely it is I'm going to win the block. Right? Yes.
Tell me if this assumption is at all accurate. It sounds to me like the average Bitcoin user would be a person in the top 20% of the whole population in terms of personal wealth.
That is not true.
Okay.
Because Bitcoin can be converted to Satoshis, which are smaller versions of Bitcoin, right? And it's anonymous. Or places where the fiat money is not as stable will use Bitcoin. So it's not necessary. Now the people mining Bitcoin are wealthy, but the people using Bitcoin are not.
Chris, just go back to square one. If I want to invest, I want to buy a coin. How do I do it? Do I get out my checkbook and send it to somebody?
No, you would go to one of those exchanges. Like if you go to Coinbase.com, it will take you through the process of setting up your account. It'll allow you to connect your Chase checking account to your Coinbase account. You can then move fiat money from Chase into Coinbase, and you'll get something called a USDT, a US dollar token, which is tethered directly to the US dollar, right? And then that's what we use in the crypto side. And then what you can do is you can go, I want to trade my US dollar tokens for Bitcoin. And so I could buy $100, I can move $100 from my Chase checking account into my Coinbase account, and then I could buy $100 worth of Bitcoin, and then forever watch the numbers go up and down as to whether the value of my Bitcoin goes higher or lower, which is the problem, right? I mean, that's really the problem here is a lot of these coins turned into collectibles.
Just wanted to mention, if you guys are looking to buy into this, Coinbase offers a Coinbase for the novice, and they do a Coinbase Pro. So if you're planning to do this more than once,
Yeah,
go to the Pro version,
use
where they
Coinbase.
charge much less in fees than the novice hand-holding version.
Yeah, so to that point, so Coinbase, the thing I just told you to use, which is legitimate, right? It's a good thing. But that's something called a custodial wallet. You don't actually own the wallet, you just own an account, and they're divvying up the coins that people are buying into custodial wallets. If you really want to have your own wallet and transfer those coins to your own wallet and be control of it, you can using something like MetaMask or Phantom or some of the other wallets that are out there. But then if you lose that wallet, just like if you lose your wallet, that's gone. If you lose access to that wallet, it is gone, just like you lost paper money.
Quintessential, don't forget your
And it's
password.
not insured.
But
No, it's not insured. Well, these are your wallet, right? Yeah. I mean,
if you trust somebody else, they have a saying, not your keys, not your money. So I would say if you buy some, take it offline and keep it with yourself. Put it
I'm
in
not
a
quite
safe.
there yet.
yeah. Yes.
Time for about one more.
One more question. Who's got a really good question? All right.
So most everybody in the room understands CPUs and RAM in a computer.
No.
But this, sorry, louder. Good. But this is a big GPU. Why?
Yeah. GPUs are faster at mathematics than CPUs are.
Really?
Yes. Because think about what they're designed to do, right? They're designed to draw graphics on a screen. That is a totally mathematical computation. We good?
Yeah.
You want to do one more? All right. One more. Go ahead.
So the question I was going to ask is, so everyone, all the crypto folks that are out there were saying that, it's not tied to inflation, it beats inflation. So as the Fed came out with meeting minutes to say that inflation was happening and that we're going to start raising rates, Bitcoin tanks. And it tanks just like the stock market does. So that's what I've been trying to ask all my friends that are into this. If it's supposedly a hedge against inflation, why is its value descending just like the stock market is and not going up?
Because that last thing, volatility, people aren't using it like a currency. They're using it like a stock.
So that's
why.
So it's not beating necessarily right now until people use it for
Yeah,
currency.
it's still de-inflationary, right? Because there's only a fixed amount. The only way you can have inflation is to increase the supply outside of what you're...
No, I'm just saying if it's to be a hedge against inflation in somebody's portfolio, which is what everyone talks about, like we're going to ditch gold and go to Bitcoin. If it's going down just like the market is, how is it a hedge? That's what
It's
I've
not.
been trying to... Okay.
Yeah, cryptocurrencies are terrible at durable value.
I've asked a bunch of people and everyone kind of skirts around
No,
the
no,
subject.
no. Yeah, that's not your life savings going with Bitcoin.
If you're retail, it could be taking less for that particular flower as compared that you just saw, that dozen roses that you said today, you gave today, as compared to you could be getting more for it, depending on when you get that.
Yeah. Right. Whereas Bitcoin moves more than the US dollar does. But if I go down to Brazil, those numbers move, their fiat money moves at the same pace as Bitcoin. So, yeah, I'll use Bitcoin.
This is it, for real. I feel like we're definitely going to have Christopher back, 'cause that was really, I just keep thinking about a time that I tried to get into crypto and I bought Bitcoin and it was like $1,000 and then it started to drop and so I sold it and now I hear it's worth $40,000 and I want to go run out into traffic right now. Thank you, everyone. Just because I feel like Mark just made everyone very confused, possibly. We are meeting here next week, Monday, Valentine's Day. I want to be everyone's date on Valentine's Day for lunch, right here. Don't mess this up, Mark. I'll see you guys next week.